Good morning. Take two. Good morning, take two. And my hair is terrible right now. I'm actually thinking about leaving my hair and just growing it out for the entire year, in the name of Rona, right? Just because, just contribute to my, I guess, I don't know, day-to-day activities to not spread the coronavirus and protect the healthcare workers and make sure no one's their parents or grandparents start dying again, right? So great week, and it was rough. And I'm gonna drop a clip of me recording a video going into the Luxor, at work at the Luxor. Alright, guys, just want to take you on this little quick journey. I'm actually going into the Luxor right now and gonna go through like security and all that, and I'm just gonna be spinning up an isolated network so that way we can do some like cloud computing type of things. Essentially, people will be able to purchase. We're coming off of a different type of service provider, and they pay them and they give us a kickback for passive compute resources. So pretty much to make them available and make sure they're online. And one of the things for me, being in charge of the department itself, I have to make sure that everything's secure, right? So they're able to log in. A lot of these are bigger businesses and they're renting space, but at the same time, you never know, right? So what I'm gonna do is make sure that the network is built out and make sure they cannot pivot and do anything like that. It's pretty locked down. And if they need certain things, they will reach out to me, and then I'll provide it to them. That's a way for me to control the environment, so that way it's not just open access and they can just get everywhere, right? So I kind of want to do this, like, see how this kind of plays out for me. Just going to record and just as I take breaks and things of that nature. We also have an event today, so I should have no idea what I'm walking into. So the broadcasting team is in there and they're working. So, all right, see you. And we were prepping for a show, and I was doing some other things too. And I was like, oh, what am I going to get into today? And I do have some side projects to generate some more some passive income using our infrastructure and renting this stuff like that, like cloud computing. And I was setting up my network for network hardening, right, to increase the security and make sure that when they log in or do things like that, unable to pivot and do malicious things, even though they're genuine companies, but you never know. So I went ahead when I walked in the door. I did my work, and for some reason, I could not troubleshoot this issue, and I'm pretty sure it was because of the patterns I did early in the morning. So I didn't get there until like 1, I believe, if I remember correctly, and I remember, if you've been following me for a while, I've talked about in other podcasts and earlier in this vlog series, CCNP vlog series, is that you have to adjust your patterns. You have to do things that normally you're not used to if during the pandemic. If you're in a pandemic, you're working from home, I started developing these habits, and then you starting to transition to go back to work, you will run into some of the hiccups. Hours changing, days of work change. Normally used to X, Y, and Z today, and you normally, for example, today, if normally on Mondays I would go for a run and at 10 o'clock in the morning, but now I have to go into work. How do you adjust to that? So, what I did on that day, I forgot what day it was, Friday or Thursday. I showed up. I had done a full session of Mandarin. I read almost a whole chapter because I was trying to wrap up this book. So in this fundamentals of network programmability, and that chapter was very intense, and it took a lot of energy out of me. And this is just me putting
me putting some rationalization as to why this all occurred. Maybe it was because when I got there, I was really tired for some reason. So I had started configuring and doing my things, and I got about 90% there, but for some reason it just wasn't functioning, and I just, for the life of me, I could not figure out why, and it was really getting me upset. So I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, and early on I knew I needed to go home, but I was like, I've only been here for a couple of hours. There's no way I'm gonna leave here without getting it fixed. And no, I did not get it fixed. I went home. My girlfriend had to deal with me just throwing a fit, right? And because you know what, I've again mentioned this before, and I think in preparation for the certification or how to get certified, I take this very personally, and probably too personally, my career. Not necessarily my job. My job, and this is probably an unpopular opinion as well. Jobs can come and go. You know, a company can go under or succeed and let you go because of a disagreement or whatever. But my career itself, the way I develop myself as a professional, the skills that I have, the time I put into developing my craft, I take that very personally. So when I can't do certain things, in regards to just me not being somebody else preventing me, but if I'm unable to solve something and I'm holding myself in a high caliber, I really am rough on myself. So, and I know this, I should go home, right? When I was working on it, and I was like, oh, man, like I really need to go home and just rest. But I'm like, I know if I go home and rest, I'm gonna keep thinking about it. I'm not gonna go to sleep, whatever. And no, I didn't. I eventually went home like around 6, and it was just a terrible night. The very next day, I went and I did not do any studying. I think I read, but I didn't read as intensely. Like, so when I finally got to work, it was already 1, and I have been doing all kinds of stuff of just like mentally pushing myself. And then when I got to work, I was just like, I thought it was going to be super easy, and for some reason, I eventually figured it out. And the next day, I went and I did a little bit of reading, went to work early, and I knocked it out in like 20 minutes. I hopped into a conference call, and then while they were doing the conference call, I was like 90% not listening, just concentrating, and the other 10% was listening. So, and then I was like doing the work, and I was like, got it. Like 20 minutes. The longest it took was for me to log into the devices. So, it's very funny that way, and trust your instincts, you guys. So adjust, right? Like for me, the past few days, actually major adjustments. I went from Monday through Thursday pretty much of working, to now it's looking like a Wednesday through Sunday work week. So there's a lot of things to adjust there. I run every other day. I run 3 times a week. I'm starting to incorporate some body weight exercises. And body weight exercises, running every other day, and what else? Mandarin in the morning, and then I read. And then this is the important part, right? I read the days I work. I read Cisco, or I study Cisco, right? Now we're moving on to studying, not just reading. We're reading, studying, same thing. But I'm not reading the book anymore. I'm going to, like today. Today is the podcast day. And normally I would do this video on Saturday or Sunday. But I work Saturday and Sunday. So I'm adjusting now. My weekends are now going to be Monday and Tuesday. And that's where you're going to see the podcast go live. So for my studying for Cisco, normally AWS is during the weekend, which I continue doing that last week. I'm sorry. This week I'm going to, because the book got completed. I did complete the book. Did complete the Cisco ENCOR 350 401 study guide, and I'm wrapping up the AWS. Probably I have like 5 chapters left, but it's like 100 pages combined or something like that, and it's gonna be like, if I fully concentrated on the AWS, I think I mentioned this before as well, that I'll probably be done by now. It's a really small book. Also got this Udemy video series. Like I think I'll and what's funny too. Well, I'll get into that later. So what I'm gonna do is adjust in my work week. So instead of AWS and Saturday and Sunday, I'm doing AWS Monday, Tuesday, and then Cisco is gonna be Wednesday through Sunday. Now, how am I gonna do that when I'm inside of work, right? So I'm going actually, and it's kind of thinking when I woke up how I wanted to do my prep. Do I really want to remove this habit that I built, right? I'm so used to reading now. Like, it's insane how I'm willing. Before, it was like a drag to read. I'm telling you, it was hard for me to pick up a book and read. For the Cisco, very difficult. And just like any, like, I'm again, like, I am, my dog's in the back. You see him? It's hilarious. It was hard for me to pick up the book and then start reading and continually doing that. For now, I'm just like knocking out these chapters. Like, it's incredible how quickly I'm going through these chapters. This week, I completed 60 pages in like 3 days. So I think the network programmability, that took me about a day and a half. And then yesterday, I literally knocked out the whole chapter, which is 30 pages. So it takes me about a day a chapter now, and that's just because of my continuous habit building and being able to absorb the information that I'm bringing in at a faster rate because I'm continuing to do it through repetition. So I'm reading 7 days a week now. So it's just, I'm taking in less quality stuff, like not less quality, but less complex things and less amount. So I'm reading about 10 pages on a weekend, on like a Saturday, and I'm just like reading that. That's like it's like going on a hike, right? You go on a hike and just like talk about general terms. That's what AWS practitioner is. What is a EC2 instance? What is a database? Like, what type of bad databases there are, and that's it. Like, it's not super intense. So it's like me going for a hike. Now, if I did the associate level for in any AWS, like, that'll be super intense work, which I know, so I'm not going to tackle that. And that was for a purpose, right? I'm thinking actually, since I finished my book, or was what day's today? It was probably like Saturday. I was doing some research. I have a bunch of Udemy courses. I don't know what to do next. I'm really liking the AWS practitioner video series that I bought, and what I'm actually thinking about doing is, because I really wish I was very competent in Python. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and do that video series at the same time while I'm doing my CCNP, just instead of AWS. Once I finish a practitioner, I'm gonna go into that. And it's less intense. I could take my time with it. There's no certification. It's kind of just like knowledge, passive knowledge. I'm just casually going on a hike. It allows me to continue learning without the pressure. So, and then less complex stuff. It's not, I just follow along, listen to it, and then I will be able to hopefully apply that. Now it goes into eventually, because also another one that directly applies to the CCNP is Ensemble, Puppet, Salt, and Chef. And I did look up some videos on that. I kind of don't want to pull the trigger just yet because I'm not there with, I don't think I'll need it to that deep intensity for Cisco, the CCNP. But I think once they go the DevNet route, because I'm actually going to do dual CCNPs. Once the NAuto book comes out, I'll knock that out and then do the DevNet Associate, and I'll just have dual CCNPs and start getting myself into possibly DevNet. Now, the issue, the hesitation I have is that I kind of want to go into security. I want to do cloud security, but then why not be a DevNet with a specialty in security, and hopefully that'll allow me to be more negotiable and allows me to build out infrastructure, right? So I can build out infrastructure and for me have security in mind. So anyways, this is kind of like me thinking at a bigger scope. Usually when I finish a task, I always think about, okay, what's next? What am I going to do next? So for the CCNP study guide today, I'm actually going to prep for my how I'm going to study. So the way I'm going to do that, and I should have actually logged in. So what we're going to do right now is log into my 365 account. Okay, now that we're all logged in here, I want to go over what I'm going to be doing here for my plan. This is how I foresee myself going through the next stage of my study plan for the ENCOR. So there's main topics, right? And I have highlighted them here in my planner. What I'm thinking about doing is going through finishing out the percentages here. I'm going to do that today. Going through the IP services, wireless layer 2 and layer 3, and going and tearing apart the book, essentially highlighting the chapters that cover these topics. I do not want to check mark like this, that's done, right? Until I go ahead and get at least one flashcard and one review page on my OneNote. So this will help me to cover all my bases. I have a flashcard and I have a notepad note that covers that particular topic. So this allows me to build out confidence throughout my study sessions and courses and things of that nature. During this week, I want to plan out that I have what my expectations of me taking the exam, when to take my practice exam, when do I feel that I estimated should be ready for this particular exam. So looking at the way I kind of done my studying so far, I've predicted worst case scenario. Right, so 2 weeks in advance, 3 weeks in advance, it's going to take me a week to do this. In reality, it probably takes me a few days. This allows me to feel more confident when I finish it sooner. I forget that the fact that I could have done it sooner, I kind of impress myself a little bit and just allows myself to just have that reward. It's pretty cool. So instead of saying, well, I'll be done in a few days and I should take 3 days and I feel kind of bad because I didn't get it done fast enough, I do the opposite of that. So for me, this whole week, the next few days, I'm going to continue preparing, right? So laying out the planner, how I foresee myself studying, right? This is all fluid. This is change based on environments, based on situations, habits, everything. If I feel like it's not impacting me enough, then I am going to change it, right? So I'll adjust and do all that. Now, in addition to prepping, I am going to continue the NRC exam book. I'm going to continue that confidence level and all of that. I'm going to make sure that I continue reading, and also making these notes for the ENCOR. The NRC covers topics in the ENCOR. If you look at here, IP services, wireless, and I guess it doesn't go, and it covers BGP, like layer 2 and layer 3. Covers BGP, it covers ERGRP and OSPF. So, but it covers mainly broad topics. So the unfortunate part, I don't have SD-WAN book available yet, and I don't have an auto, which I think will be extremely beneficial for this ENCOR exam. But we'll see, right? If I have to look up RFCs, I bought an NRC Udemy course, which I don't know if it'll be helpful, but I do have the boson labs, things of that nature. But one thing for sure, I want to cover the topics, right? So wherever I gather the topics from, either from a book or from a Udemy course or from just general RFC Google searches, I got new bills. I'll make sure that I cover it somehow, one way or another, write a flashcard on it, write notes on it, things of that nature. So I suspect me to start my prep, pretty much reviewing, and one of the just spitballing things here is like 2 chapters a day. So I cover 1 chapter, do one, and I may take 1 chapter 1 whole day, so it may take me even longer. But say if I do 2 chapters a day, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 will be June 5th, so start on June 1st, June 5th. That's 10 chapters. and then another 10, 8 through the 12th, and then 15 to the 19th, I'll be done. So it'll take me 3 weeks to cover 2 chapters a day, for just in preparation of creating OneNote pages. When I say I'm going to go over, review these pages, these chapters, I'm actually going to create OneNote pages associated to the topics, right? So what that means is, like, for example, IP services. I'm going to create a bunch of little tasks in IP services. If you drill into here, and you can say, I add to checklists, right? So in here, I can create, I don't know, ERGRP or something like that, whatever. And that'll be in layer 3, right? Go into layer 3, put OSPF, ERGRP. And then things that the exam topics cover, like implementing ERGRP or just talking about it. And then, so I'm going to write these on a checklist and then create a layer 3 section for a page for ENCOR, and then write all the things that are associated to it. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to create the tree for OneNote, but it's going to be, I'm going to try to organize as much as possible so I can use it in reference in a later, as I go up to the CCIE. So and then the percentage matters. So the higher the percentage, the more flashcards I'm going to create and more detail of the OneNotes. So for the infrastructure, it'll be heavy, and then towards the end, it's going to be quicker to create these OneNotes and flashcards, just because the topics are not a majority of the test. So infrastructure, security, automation, those are my main topics. The ones in the end are going to be covered less, I guess, because I think infrastructure is 30%, security is 20%, I think it's 15%, and then 15% architecture, virtualization, and then assurance at like 10% each or something like that, if I remember correctly. So that's how I plan to do it. If it'll take me about 3 weeks to cover the book, 2 chapters a day, and then 1 week of flashcards, and then 1 week of taking the flashcards and doing a practice test, which would be end of June, beginning of July. I believe I'll be ready for the test July 13th to the 17th, or July 13th to the 24th. Around that time frame, I should be taking it. It'll be extremely cool if I can get this ENCOR CCNP before everything opens up. Now, we are prepping to open up, looking like maybe mid-June, right? But who knows, right? So if I can, it'd be real cool if majority of the population is still closed down and I can take this exam. So again, I'm overstating myself. I don't know how long it'll take me to do these review pages. But if I do them faster than the 3 weeks, I can potentially take the exam on July 1st. So who knows, right? I don't think it should take me a month to review all these. Again, I know the material 60 to 80% of it. So I feel pretty confident, especially with the historical stuff that I already read the previous CCNP switch exam book, and then the CCNP route book. And then this book on top of it, and I also have real world experience. I feel like I can do this, so we'll see. Again, not putting pressure on the dates or anything like that, just trying to learn the material. And in conjunction, again, we use the NRC to continue the motivation or encourage the habits that I already have instilled that I needed to complete this book. Now, if I can complete the NRC book, if I can knock out like 5-6 chapters, right? And then it's like 23 chapters for this NRC book, and it covers BGP, OSPF, ERGRP, and route redistribution, and then a prefix list, things of that nature. And those are topics already covered before. So it's just, this is a second round of the route book pretty much. And if I can complete both CCNPs before September, that'll be amazing. And I'll have my CCNP, and I'm trying to go dual, right? So I'm doing the and auto after this, and I have this whole map out, and I'll discuss all that, but in the future. But my next vlog, look forward to more. I mean, if you guys see this, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not, if you're listening on video, in audio on a podcast, I have like these buckets and think of like a list of stuff. And they have like columns, right? So infrastructures on the far left, security, automation, architecture, virtualization, and so on. And in there, I have topics like wireless, IP services, layer 2, layer 3. Under security, got describe components and network security design. things like that. And then you're going to see more in detail. So I encourage everyone to go check it out on YouTube right now. Once this video is up, if you're listening to this podcast, pop it open on YouTube. And then on the next vlog, hopefully, and I plan to have everything pretty much laid out. It'll be ready to go for me to start taking down these notes and all of that. I'm a guy who really doesn't like to plan, especially for studying. I'm not, because it's so fluid. I don't like to invest so much time into planning. But I think during this prep, I really want to put some more time into it and test and see how it looks when it's played out. Because sometimes when you write on paper, it's like when you write it all out, it makes sense. But when you're doing it, it doesn't make sense. It's not applicable, especially for me. I mean, many people lost their jobs and as a negative, right? But there is also positive in that. You can actually study and you'll have everything in front of you all the time. But when you are working, you have to make sure you're versatile. So even if you are unemployed, and those individuals who got unemployment, make sure that you design everything so that way you can go back to work and continue to study, right? So you study and you can go back to work and all that. So that's what I suggest, and look forward for that on my blog. And I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day. I had a great week. It was awesome. I was able to finally finish this book, 29 pages, 30 if you count the study preparation section. I'm continuing trying to build these habits, right, and encourage them. I discussed, this is my second take of this video, so I did discuss Python and other things I want to tackle on a conjunction to this, right? So while I'm doing my CCNP, I want to take courses that are electives again, that are very not super draining mentally, but are also kind of fun. That'll also be beneficial in my career. So I encourage you guys to do that same as well. And then I'm still running every day. Well, not every day, every other day. And I'm building out some physical activities that help me mentally. And then sometimes if you got to reset, do that. Mental health is extremely important, especially during this time. You guys are stuck at home. Me and my girlfriend haven't went out a lot, so we really rely on working out. And actually, I think she's waiting for me to finish up this video so we can go into the park. So really appreciate everyone. Like, share, and subscribe, and look forward to talk to you guys next week. Peace. So another portion of this that I wanted to discuss was during this past week, I actually dealt with a heavy amount of just anxiety and I was just overwhelmed dramatically. And we combated that, right? In order for me, I don't know if it was because of my anxiety was built because of the pandemic, or if it was because of my studying habits. It was like I was pushing myself really hard that last couple of weeks, like maybe the last 2 weeks, and to wrap up a lot of these topics. And I don't know if it was that or just everything kind of hit me hard. I was missing my parents, missing my family, missing my cousins, and different factors, right? But I got really just everything kind of hit me all at once. I had anxiety about like bills and just like everything, and actually I told my girlfriend, I was like, let's go somewhere. At first we were going to go to Grand Canyon, but I've never been there before. So I've been there when I was a kid, and I guess I'm not, because of the distance thing. It was like we're 4 hours away, so we'll have to go do our thing and then come back. And we have 2 dogs, so because I didn't know if the national park's closed, but there's other places around there in Grand Canyon you can kind of sneak away and do some little small hikes. But I didn't know it well enough to be confident to do that travel. So here there's a close by like mountain that we went, and a lot of people go hiking there. We went, and there's different trails, and we took our trail. We already did it before, but we never took the dogs. So we went. It's an hour long, just one way. Essentially, like if you're by yourself, you could probably knock it out in 30 minutes. But obviously, we had the dogs, all that, so it probably took an hour. And then we ate. We ate some. My girlfriend made some. I don't know. It was like pasta and like tuna. It was like delicious. So we chill. We had like a little picnic, and then we walked down. And it was exhausting. I was super tired. The dogs were just like towards the end of it, they were like started crying. They were like, "Oh my god, when is it gonna be over?" And it was great. As soon as I was out there, just me driving there felt good. It just felt like I took a deep breath and just exhale, like, right. I went and we did the hike. The whole thing was probably like 4 hours, right? We drove there, took an hour, did the hike, came back down, took a bunch of pictures, and then we drove back another hour, and we came home. The dogs were like passed out, and it took them a few days to recuperate because they're in-house dogs, so they're like, this is a whole lot for us. But they enjoyed it. They had fun. Today, right now, I just came back from visiting the park. So my girlfriend, she has this workout fitness thing, and she wanted me to go keep her company. So I went, and we took the dogs, and we were just chilling, watching. I was listening to some podcasts and just unwinding, and she was like working out. So I didn't want to work out today. I was chilling. So yeah, man, I really wanted to take some time and set some time out and make sure that's highlighted during this process, because I don't think it's unique to the pandemic. I think when you're studying for something, I dealt with this when I was in college. I remember one time I took this course and I needed to pass it, and then it came down to the final, and I needed to pass final with like a or B or something, a certain point percentage, number of points, and I passed it. I passed the course. I was like, oh, thank God. And me and my cousin went shooting in the morning. Then we drove down PCH, and this was when I was in California. And then we rented some carts, some little like 3-wheelers, and like rode them down to Venice to HP and then back. We were like inside the crowd going in and out. Like, that was one of the highlights of my life, was spending time with him and just doing that de-stress, right? We went shooting. It was like my second time went shooting, and second time with him, I think we went shooting, and then because we went once for my birthday, and then went again that time, and just kind of, which is me just unwinding. And I started doing that more often subconsciously. I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was doing that every semester. After each semester I was done, kind of just like taking a weekend and just unwinding. Sometimes I couldn't. Sometimes we're back-to-back semesters. But when I could, I'll do it. And before, I used to come to Vegas. I would come to Vegas once a year and just go all out. And then, but now I'm living in Vegas, so I can't do that. But it was harder to do that. But now I'm starting to really feel myself. Like how I feel, my mental state. I'm very conscious of that now, because I feel like it plays a dramatic role on you taking up knowledge, doing these certifications, doing these disciplines, and along with working and all of that. So make sure you take that time. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel unmotivated, I just felt unmotivated. I didn't want to pick up the book anymore, and so in order for me to combat that, I went ahead and went on that hike. So it was great. And you know what's funny too? I think I did a vlog 8 of this. I talked about it on Monday that I felt overwhelmed. On Tuesday we went on the hike. So I was like, I can't wait to talk about this. So it's extremely important. You cannot be motivated when you're unhappy, right? And you're unhappy because of you've been doing, like, if you're stuck at work, if you're working for extremely amount of hours and you're just like super like wound tight, something, you just get away. And for me, the longer you wait, the more of a getaway you need. But if you do that more consistently, just go out and lay down. For me now, with all this happening, I consciously do nothing. I'm super. It's part of my routine now. It's like, all right, today is nothing day, or today these couple hours I leave my phone and I turn it off and I don't do anything. I just chill, right? Go lay down somewhere outside, take a breath of fresh air, walk the dogs. I'll put my phone away when I'm taking them out. use the bathroom and stuff, take them for walks, whatever the case may be. I take a few times out of the day and just unwind and don't do anything. And then whenever I feel overwhelmed every couple of weeks, I go ahead and do stuff like that. So I want to continue those patterns when I go back into the real world. Just like when the pandemic's over and everything just opens back up, I'm going to try to keep doing that and make it a priority. My mental state is a priority for myself, priority for me right now. And it should always be for everyone. So I just want to make sure that's highlighted. It's that turned around the week for me. Like I feel so good right now. It's awesome. I'm just like so awesome. It's amazing how happy I am right now. And during all this, right? It's interesting. Like people are losing jobs. I don't even know if I'm gonna have a job in a couple of weeks or months, right? Who knows what happens? There's nothing definite. That's the difficult part of all this. Like you never know for sure. I'm missing my parents. I haven't seen them in months. And same with my cousins. I was planning to go down there, and it's kind of like I want to contribute to. I want to contribute to the support of it, and I don't want to contribute to the spread of COVID-19. So we're trying to do our part. So once the governor and everything else opens up, and we're going to continue with the mask thing for our personal safety and for personal safety of others. But I want to hold off on travel until everyone starts. The governor gives a thumbs up. The health organization say, okay, it's fine. So I don't want to, just be like, oh, forget them, right? So we'll see. But we can't do that. So what we can do is take some time for ourselves, go on hikes and whatever you like to do, right? For me, I have to now run. Yesterday I went for a run, and me and my girlfriend went together, and she was like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I need to go run today. Like, I need to go now, because if I wait too long, I won't be able to do it. And it has nothing to do with me, like, it's healthier up here and just like how I feel, not necessarily like weight or anything like that. I don't really care about that right now. My main focus is just make sure I have those consistencies, and it helps me de-stress. But sometimes you need more than that, right? So, and we took that getaway, and it was just awesome. Cannot tell you how awesome that felt. So, I hope you guys again like, share, and subscribe. Take the time away, but also continue your disciplines right afterwards, and get back on that horse, and make sure you guys ride out this pandemic and come out very successful in the end of it. So I really appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you need me to answer something. If you have any questions or whatever, you can DM me. Also on Instagram, Twitter. Just hit me up, whatever. I'm here to help whenever I can. So I really appreciate you guys. Peace.